So Jessica Brown is now a 13-year-old. When she was 3.5, she was in a car accident and had a spinal cord injury, which was devastating. She had basically a transection of her spinal cord at the very top, so at C2, which means that all the nerves that control your arms and hands and shoulders and legs were severed. So Jessica went from being a normal 3.5-year-old to being a 3.5-year-old who couldn't move. So Jessica was stabilized in the intensive care unit at Children's, and when they felt that she was stable enough to come to rehab, she was transferred to Franciscan, and that's where I met her.
I was here when she was admitted. And I went in to see her, and she was demanding and fresh, and I loved it.
Well, the prognosis is grim. Many children who have spinal cord injuries at the level that Jessica has just don't survive. They don't survive the initial accident. And if they do, the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system is so disrupted that they may not survive the first few days or weeks after the injury.
This is a girl that had to learn how to kind of cope with the world without being able to move, except for her head. Fortunately, she was able to talk and she could communicate her needs, but she was finding herself to be dependent upon others.
The family is very strong. Jessica's primary caretaker is her grandmother, Dee, and she is a very, very intelligent person who has educated herself about spinal cord injuries and educates herself about each of Jessica's problems as it arises.
There was a van coming in the opposite direction and went right up over the car. And the seat totally folded down on Jess. They didn't even know she was in the car. All I saw were tubes and a tube down her throat, and she wasn't conscious. Then I spoke to the doctors, and the doctors said that she had received a spinal cord injury, and it was a high-level one, and they weren't sure whether she'd make it through the night.
Here's the amazing thing about Jessica. Jessica has a normal brain, and Jessica is a smart little girl. She's always been smart, and now she's a smart teenager.
I couldn't have gotten this far without Dr. O'Brien with me all the time. I mean, she was always on the other end of the phone, even after we went home. Whenever I needed her, I'd pick up the phone and call her, and she'd be right there. And it's basically with most of the people here. If I ever needed any of them, all I had to do was call them, and they were right there.
I'd go in there at night, and she'd be like, I need help, I can't breathe, I'm like, you're breathing. No, I need to be ambushed. No, you're breathing, you're fine, your sats are good, everything's good. She wanted the attention, and then 5 minutes later, she'd be like, I have Slim Jims in my locker, and we can have Slim Jims.
Yeah, she'd like to get into a lot of things that, normal 3-year-olds would get into. Always on the go. She used to climb up in the sink and try to wash her hair all by herself, and the little turn thing underneath the toilets in your house, she turned that on and flooded my whole bathroom all the way down through the pantry, trying to shut the water off.
So in the wheelchair, the sip and puff, there are actually more gradations to each sip and puff. Let's say, for example, a hard puff would be going fast, a soft puff would be going slow, a soft sip may be turning left, a hard sip may be turning right.
You got laryngitis? Scott?
Sure.
Laryngitis?
No.
Sound like it?
Cold.
You're good.
Should be home. Not working. Ray!
Think for a minute,
Yeah.
Ray.
Nice seeing you, bud.
Yeah, you too. Maybe I'll see you at the Disney. She uses mouth sticks, which are basically extensions of her mouth. So there's a bite plate that she holds onto with her mouth. They come in different types. One has a pincher at the end so that she can pick up game pieces or cards. Some of them are just pointers, so she can push on something like push a button or turn a page of a book.
She loved being out in the backyard digging for worms. Digging for worms is still one of her favorite things to do. And when we first came home from the hospital, she tried to get her brother, who was 4 at the time, to try to eat one. Some of the worms that she dug up. She said, "Go ahead, Jakey, try one, they're good."
We have a nurse, and I put it in her face.
You can see that she's thinking up things, and she's mischief, even though she's laying there.
She's always been very strong-willed. From the day she was born, she's been very strong-willed.
Getting suspended.
More so now. More, and I think
Suspended.
it's that spirit and that strong will that's gotten her
And suspended.
this far.
And you just knew that if she was walking around, she'd be looking for some way to get in trouble, or, and I really like that. She didn't lose that.
She's got the fight. She's had the fight. She's come through very, very
I got suspended.
serious issues,
Suspended.
infections, all kinds of things, and she's pulled through.
Can you imagine Jessica, if she has an itch on her nose, she can't scratch her nose. She has to ask somebody to help her.
She lives it every day. She lives with this condition every day. She lives with having to be suctioned every day. She lives with having to be placed in the chair and placed out of the chair every day.
She is such a wonderful, normal child. She is a hero. Jessica's a hero. That's what I want you to know.
Stay on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Stay on the sunny side of life. Why did the banana cross the road? Because he wanted to split. Why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side.
My favorite joke that Jessica has told me is, what animal can jump higher than a house?
Any kind, because houses can't jump. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Ivan.
Ivan who?
I've been working on the railroad all the live long day. And that's it.
And that's it.